Hello guys, NautoAis here, and I want to give my thoughts on the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. So there is a lot of interesting announcement, feature, information about the console, plus actually games. And yes, I'll also be talking about some controversy. And oh boy, let's just say that most of the Nintendo fans, especially the hardcore, are not happy. But that be a little bit later. So with that said, first, the elephant in the room. On the Nintendo Direct, they did not mention anything about a universal achievement system. I don't know what's going on. They basically focus on other things, hopefully in the treehouse, and if it's not, maybe later on. And who knows? I mean, I'll talk about more of what's going on, but yeah, so as of right now, in the entire Nintendo Direct, no mention any shape or form about a universal achievement system. Hopefully there is, so it's still time. We'll just have to wait and see. And yeah, so if you notice on my main channel, especially April's Fool about the Nintendo Achievement Win, yes, so a little bit of the backstory of that one because it's sort of related. Yes, whether Nintendo does it or not for the Switch 2, it is what it is. I say it's gonna bullshit if it's not. But for the segment itself, it'll have a new title. Moving forward, it'll be just me showcasing anything that has an achievement, especially PlayStation trophies. So that's why. So yeah, so as of right now, there is no information about a universal achievement system. Hopefully in the long run, maybe something to do with my Nintendo. Again, it's baby step to some extent. So with that said, let's start with Mario Kart World. People were wondering whether it's going to be Mario Kart 9 or 10. Yes, whether you like it or not, it is time for a new Mario Kart, so they did it. Mario Kart 8 was popular in the Wii U, kind of made it turn it around, especially during the Switch with Deluxe, adding some new feature, plus the Booster Pass, even adding more content to the game, and it sold like hotcakes. So can you top that? Well, they kind of did with Mario Kart World, because one, it's going to be a launch title. Second, it is going to be up to 24 players. There's going to be new characters, new card, new cosmetic, I guess, for the characters, plus a lot of new rules. Especially now, it's sort of an open world because you can free roam in any tracks in Mario Kart. Also, when you're playing the Grand Prix mode, rather than transitioning to one stage to another, apparently it's going to be one big stage. So let's say that it's 4 tracks per Grand Prix. The minute you finish the first Grand Prix, like the first stage, you move to the second stage automatically. So there's a lot of smooth transition, new items, and new features with it. However, the controversy with this game is, well, the price, but I'll be talking about that later on. Because in conjunction with Mario Kart World, they finally revealed what the C button is. And yes, as a lot of people knew it, it is the chat button C. They call it game chat. No, it doesn't connect you with the old Switch as a second screen. That's still a good idea, but again, it's just barely announced. Give it time. That's probably going to be like a year later or so, that new additional feature. But for now, baby steps. So yes, so at least you can now do chat with the console without using the phone. However, Nintendo did say that you can still use the phone if you want to. And if you look at some of the new video on the Nintendo YouTube channel, they're also updating the Nintendo Parental Guide app. Again, for the safety for the children yet, but at the same time, they don't want to get sued. They kind of show how it is, chat up to 4 people, play at the same time, watch their gameplay to some extent, and it even's going to have a Nintendo Switch 2 camera if you want that. So it's sort of a massive social aspect. I mean, unless you're a hardcore that you know what to do using Discord, streaming, whatever. To some extent, this is, again, like I said, just like my Nintendo today, that it is for the casual, something easy, without to know how to understand how to build a streaming set, streaming with your friends. It's something easy, something's already there, so that's why. That's what the game chat is. Again, it's for the casual, for the parent. That's why they're there. Of course, then after that, is another feature that the Nintendo Switch 2 will have is game share. On selected game, you can actually play multiplayer with only one game card. So they showed Clubhouse 51. All you need is one. Send it to the other people who have Switch 2 and you can play multiplayer. Again, it is a good idea. Save some money, especially if someone wants to try out what the game is. There you go, they can try there, especially multiplayer. Save some money there. But like I said, it is only selected games for now, but they're going to add more. And then, of course, they did talk about a bit of a spec and the size. And yes, it's also a factor the price, but I'll talk about it later. So the specs are, yes, it is more powerful than the Switch, no duh. So they did say that when you play it handheld, it is 1080p. When you do it on the dock, you can go 4K. It even has HDR option if you want that. So technically, it is sort of par to a PlayStation 4 Pro to a Series S to some extent. So a lot of people kind of believe that it's as powerful as a Series S. So on Twitter, I kind of said, if a game can run on a Series S, it probably can run on the Switch 2 to some extent. Yes, I was right. However, there are some caveats with some of the game. You kind of showed with the trailer, but I'll talk about that later. And then for the size, yes, it is bigger than the Switch. The controllers are bigger. The screen, the Switch itself, it is a bit bigger. It is what it is there. And then with that, they showed a game that is kind of exclusive, showing the capability of the Switch 2, but it is sort of a controversy, and that is the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. So the idea is some sort of interactive tech demo with puzzle and minigame and the tech and the history behind the Switch 2. So you say, oh, that's cool, a tech demo. That should be free in the game. Well, nah. Apparently, you're paying for it. So my guess is it's going to be between $10 to $20. Tech demo showing what the Switch 2 is about, and you're paying for it. Including myself, a lot of people, even famous people I follow, like Dreamcast Guy and Miss Click, they're like, what the hell is this shit? And I even said that when Sony, who's to some extent anti-consumer, provide a pack-in game, Astro Bot Playroom, that it can be a full game, but it's not, a free pack-in game, and it's even free if you can download it again. And if you didn't know, they even had a latest update, so you can get like PS5 Pro related item, showing you that it's free. Then this weird tech demo, there's something wrong with Nintendo, and I'm laughing. So, I mean, are people gonna buy it? Well, if you're a Nintendo hardcore, probably, but oh my god, this game should have had been a pack-in game. Yes, I know Nintendo's policy. They never pack in a game when it first launched. It was a controversy with the Wii. According to Reggie, Miyamoto was not happy about it, but because, again, different culture, different market. The US market is different than the Japanese market. I mean, granted, if you have an internet, there's going to be free-to-play games. Fortnite is one of them, so, I mean, there it is. But, again, it just would make more sense if this game was a pack-in game. They even said it had puzzle and mini game. Oh my goodness, but whatever. Nintendo, man, they're very anti-consumer here. So it kind of showed that Furukawa's direction is way different than Iwata, but again, it is what it is there. And then they also said about that if you want to expand the save for the Switch 2, you're going to need to buy a micro SD Express card. So you can't use a normal one like on the Switch. You're going to need to use an Express because it runs in a powerful, architect. It runs more faster, powerful. Kind of makes sense. It is what it is. But again, it's still better than those PlayStation Portable and Vita memory card. Oh my god, the proprietary memory card was bad. And again, it says security reason. I don't think it's a security reason for this one. It's just that it's the architect. It's just way different. And speaking of the architect, I didn't forget to mention that, yes, Koizumi is not in charge of the Switch 2. He was in the Switch 1. They introduced 3 people that were in charge of the Switch 2. The hardware architect, the director, and the producer for it. Again, they look young, so hopefully they have a different perspective than the grandpas from Nintendo, but we'll just have to wait and see. Just want to mention that one there. And then the launch of the console will be June 5th, 2025. Yes, a lot of people kind of guess, and even myself, that it is going to be somewhere in June, early June. Let the hardcore first buy them. Let them give their opinion so you can get an idea from them, the influencer. And then by November, December, make your decision whether you're going to get one or not. And yes, don't worry to some extent. Nintendo did say that they are kind of countering with scalpers. But right now, Nintendo themselves still saying that, yeah, a lot of people are still going to want this, so you might not get one on day one. For me, like I said, my policy rule is I never buy a console at launch. I give it at least 6 months to some extent. But mostly a year, yes. I kind of did the launch before. I did talk about it, the PS3 and the Wii. It is what it is. The Switch, I got it 6 months later. Okay, am I gonna get this? Maybe holiday if games are cool. They finally show some more games because I'm gonna talk about more about some new features they're gonna do. But yeah, so June 6th. So as of right now, they not mentioned the price yet on the direct itself. You have to read it from the press release for whatever, and a lot of people did show it, and you're not gonna have. I mean, the price itself, defensive perspective, but it's a little bit more than should have been in my opinion, but I'll talk about it later. And then there's going to be game type for the Nintendo Switch 2. First of all, exclusive Nintendo Switch 2 game. They showed some of them already. And then there is Nintendo Switch game. And they did say that some of this game will have a free update patch if you put it on the Nintendo Switch 2. So yeah, to some extent, there is some sort of boost mode at figure, and a lot of people did say themselves that if they do that, they'll be fine because finally, to some extent, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will have some sort of boost mode in the Nintendo Switch 2. So again, they're finally fixing the problem, and a lot of people did say the rumor was, rather than trying to fix it on the Switch, they say, you know what, we're just going to do the Switch 2, and there you go. There will be a third version of the Nintendo Switch. So they call this Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. So what it is Nintendo Switch 2 version of Nintendo Switch game. They showed some of them. First of all, yes, a lot of people figured it out. Metroid Prime 4 will have a Switch 2 Edition version, which is you can use the game with the game Joy-Con as a mouse, better frame rate, better resolution. And then the two biggest one that I saw, and this is where the achievement sort of kind of kicked in to some extent, but we'll have to wait and see, that both The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom will also have a Switch 2 edition. The edition feature is, yes, better resolution, better frame rate, 60 frame, but the game itself, they're not adding anything new about it. So yeah, some games, there is going to be something you're going to add in. Some, they don't. It's just like better graphics. It is what it is with this one. And not only that, the Switch 2 edition for this will integrate a new program in the Switch app called Zelda's Notes. So yeah, lore-wise is you're going to have a virtual like Zelda's journal in the game. But it also is going to have some stats. And one of the stats is you get medals. And this medal kind of look like achievement. So if this is going to be some sort of in-game achievement, oh my gosh, this is bullshit still. They've done that before. Like I said, I did mention that certain games have in-game achievement. Even Animal Crossing New Horizon has in-game achievement. But a lot of people who are achievement fans like myself wanted a system-based universal achievement. They're still not doing it to some extent. I don't know, but yeah. So the Zelda Note will have some sort of medal that's your achievement. But they also added some new stuff like help you find Koros, those stupid nuts thing. I can't believe they brought it back. And yeah, so, golly, I hate those. So there's going to be, like, for the Zelda Note, going to help you trying to find it. And then there's going to be called the Journal. And if you go in certain places and you turn on the app, there's going to be like a voice recording from Zelda. There's even one from the first King of Hyrule. Well, whatever, better than nothing. But in hindsight, if you're not using the app, it is just going to be resolution. That's really it. And of course, I suspected some of this Nintendo Switch 2 version. If you already have the game, you have a paid upgrade. Again, yeah, you can moan and bitch about it. Sony kind of did it with some of their first-party game. And remember, people kind of forgot, Nintendo kind of did it with the Virtual Console on the Wii to the Wii U, that if you have a Wii version, you pay $1 more for the Wii U version for an upgrade. So Nintendo kind of started it, just saying. So they're just doing the Virtual Console in the past. Now they're doing it on actual games. So good, bad, well, you decide. And I'm going to be stopping here because I'm been talking too long. So next time, more on the Switch 2. And let's just say a bit of a controversy with the pricing. All I can say is, oof. Well, stay tuned for that.